Good morning. My name is Brittany Stevenson, and I am a Master's of Nursing course-based student. My presentation is titled Use of Virtual Communities in Nursing Education. Nursing academics are continually challenged to create new ways of teaching that are engaging to students from diverse backgrounds and with different worldviews, while being contemporary and authentic. This presentation will introduce virtual communities as a new teaching approach in nursing education. First, an overview of the approach is provided, followed by a discussion of the critical elements of the teaching strategy. Next, benefits and challenges related to the implementation of virtual communities in nursing education are highlighted. Lastly, an example of how a virtual community could be integrated into an aspect of nursing education is shared. Nursing education programs are deeply rooted in tradition and influenced by both the profession of nursing and the institutional culture of higher education. In 2008, Giddens identified nursing education environments to be highly structured and competitive, with a focus on individual achievement and an emphasis on conformity and hierarchy. Traditional pedagogical approaches within nursing education have limited flexibility to accommodate diverse learners. Virtual communities are web-based applications which feature a cast of characters representing diverse cultures and backgrounds. The virtual characters and communities have unfolding storylines with medical histories and records and community-specific data. Virtual communities are based on constructivist approaches with visual and auditory media encouraging exploration and discovery. Constructivism is based on the belief that learning is development, and that the basic operating processes in learning include assimilation, accommodation, and construction of knowledge. Constructivists contend that learners build knowledge in attempt to understand their experiences, and they are active in seeking meaning. Moreover, constructivism provides explanation to how interactive social situations facilitate learning. Virtual communities are a way to immerse nursing students in the art and science of nursing, emphasizing essential professional concepts, facilitating professional transformation, and challenging students to transfer knowledge to real-life nursing environments. Student engagement is enhanced by adding an additional level of complexity and richness to curriculum content, and facilitates enhanced learning by providing students with context in which to place learned content. The use of virtual communities is argued to make students aware of important contemporary healthcare issues and to inspire critical thinking about the meaning of nursing and the impact they can make as healthcare professionals. In 2008, Giddens identified nursing education as a pivotal point to facilitate greater diversity into the nursing profession. The integration of virtual communities in nursing education is a pedagogical shift from content-driven didactic instruction to a learner-centered approach. A learner-centered approach assists the learner in understanding and transferring complex material from one setting to problem solving in another. As stated by Sullivan in 2016, the learner-centered ideology holds the belief that talents and abilities should develop naturally and in harmony with individuals' unique characteristics and preferences. This ideology shifts the focus to individual learning goals as the desired learning outcome, and the role of the educator is to create an environment supportive of the learner's needs. Context diversity is an emerging paradigm within education that encourages change to academic environments to meet the needs of all learners. As stated by Giddens in 2008, context diversity strives to create a learning community to attract diverse populations and have them thrive in an academic workplace environment. A change to curricular and pedagogical practice requires faculty to incorporate a number of teaching and learning styles that represent a variety of cognitive and cultural contexts. Threshold concepts are often difficult in terms of learning and teaching because they may seem to be conceptually difficult, complex, intangible, and foreign. So what characterizes a threshold concept? Threshold concepts are reflective of and essential to the way of thinking in a particular discipline. They denote significant concepts and require transformation of existing ways of knowing, understanding, valuing, and enacting. Threshold concepts are unlikely to be unlearned and are integrative of other aspects of subject matter and knowledge. Examples of threshold concepts in nursing include social justice, patient safety, and person-centered care. These concepts are often difficult to teach, as students often must be able to see the immediate relevance of their learning to practice and to their own developing image of nursing. Teaching threshold concepts requires creative teaching approaches that engage, inspire, and resonate with students. Transformative learning is a framework that assumes that the most effective learning occurs as a process of participation in the world. Transformative learning suggests that learning occurs when a learner changes the way in which they see the world, and there is a shift in the way meaning is made as a result of an event that leads to critical self-reflection. This new perspective leads to an openness to new viewpoints, shifts prior assumptions, and transforms behaviors of the learner so that they are congruent with their transformed perspective. Virtual communities combine narrative pedagogy through the use of videos, audio, voice, text, still images, and music. A benefit of unfolding digital stories is that they promote feelings of empathy and compassion. Levitt-Jones al. in 2015 argued that these multidimensional emotions convey invisible and sometimes unappreciated elements of nursing practice and enable exploration of reality from different perspectives. Research supports the notion that adult learners who are presented with a story linked to a series of facts retain significantly more than those presented with facts alone. Additional benefits of storytelling identified in the literature include role modeling, enhancement of cultural sensitivity, empathy, ethical insight, self-esteem, critical thinking, and communication. The main challenge related to implementation of virtual communities in nursing education is learning how to use the application effectively. Faculty must become familiar with the stories and be willing to develop student-centered learning strategies that are reflective of the stories presented in the program. Change, however, is difficult, and new teaching modalities are often met with resistance from faculty. The implementation of a new teaching strategy requires significant amounts of time and effort and moves faculty out of their comfort zones. Another challenge identified in the literature is the emphasis on some of the virtual community programs to be on the nursing activities that occur in healthcare settings and do not encourage consideration of the community as a social determinant of health. Some authors argued that integration of virtual communities focuses on the acquisition of clinical skills and knowledge and limits attention to deep learning about broader health and social concepts. Examples of virtual communities include the Neighborhood, Mirror Lake, and Stillwell. The Neighborhood was developed by Pearson Education and is a virtual community that features the stories of characters within households and community agencies. The household characters represent individuals from various cultural groups that vary in age and socioeconomic background. These characters have various health-related issues which correlate to the incidence and prevalence in population groups. In 2008, Giddens posited that the neighborhood virtual community encourages students to adopt a holistic lens as they learn about health-promoting behaviors, unhealthy lifestyles, disease processes over time, while considering the lived experience of the individuals and families. The characters featured within the community agencies represent personal and professional issues faced by nurses in a number of roles within various healthcare agencies. Nurse characters interact with other health professionals within the stories to facilitate understanding of interdisciplinary relationships between healthcare professionals. The teaching strategies that form the basis of the neighborhood include storytelling, case-based learning, and interpretive pedagogy. The implementation of virtual communities enhances teaching and learning in multiple applications across the curriculum. Areas in which a virtual community could be integrated include clinical skills labs, health assessment courses, didactic courses such as medical surgical nursing and leadership and management, medical record analysis, and priority setting. In the following section, I will briefly share ways in how a virtual community could be implemented into a clinical skills lab. Clinical skills labs traditionally focus on the acquisition of psychomotor skills, such as wound dressing changes. Students often focus on the steps required to master the skills, thereby becoming removed from the patient-centered aspect of nursing care. Clinical skills labs often have groups with large student-to-faculty ratios, resulting in significant downtime and lost opportunities for learning. While students are waiting for their turn to practice wound dressing change skills, they could review the story of the virtual community character and reflect and discuss information related to why the patient developed the wound, reasons as to why it may not heal, and could be asked to produce evidence-based recommendations that would guide their decisions for care. The skills could then be practiced on the model representing an actual patient. In 2012, Gonzalez and Fensky stated that rather than faculty just demonstrating the skills on a static mannequin, the skills lab becomes a dynamic interplay based on the particular patient. Following practicing the skills, students could document the procedure in the electronic medical record, yet adding another element of nursing practice. Learning innovations must be based on sound educational theory and support the integration of threshold concepts to enhance deep learning. This presentation provided an overview of virtual communities and discussed critical elements of the teaching approach: threshold concepts, transformative learning, learner-centered approach, and context diversity. The integration of virtual communities, such as the neighborhood, offers an alternative way to address the diverse learning needs of students in nursing programs.